Today, we're talking about tingly, sleepy hands and that scary feeling when objects seem to slip right out of your grip. If your hands feel numb and you keep dropping things, stay with me and hit subscribe so you don't miss any pain-free Golden Years lessons. If mugs, keys, or your phone have been falling more often from your hands, this episode was made with you in mind.
Maybe your family jokes that you're butterfingers now, but deep down you're wondering if something more serious is going on.
Hand numbness and weakness can feel frightening, but understanding what might be happening is the first step toward feeling more in control. We'll walk through a real story, use these models to look inside your hands, and talk about questions you can bring to your healthcare provider. By the end of this episode, my hope is that dropping things feels less mysterious and less shameful. You deserve to understand what your hands might be trying to tell you, not just feel clumsy or embarrassed. Let me introduce you to a woman named Linda from Arizona, whose story might sound a lot like yours.
Linda is 6'9", loves baking for her grandkids, but lately her hands haven't been acting like her hands.
At first, she brushed it off when a spoon slipped or a spatula fell into the sink.
Then she noticed a fuzzy, tingling feeling in her thumb, index, and middle fingers, especially at night. Sometimes it felt like pins and needles, sometimes like her fingers were wrapped in a thin glove.
Buttoning shirts, grabbing coins, and opening jars slowly became more frustrating.
Linda started to worry. Why am I dropping things? Is something wrong with my nerves? Is this just age? Maybe you've had those same thoughts holding your coffee mug or your house keys. Let's look at what lives inside this area that feels so strange when your hands tingle.
Your hands are filled with tiny nerves that carry messages about touch, temperature, and movement.
Those nerves run through narrow spaces in your wrist and up your arm all the way to your neck. Some of the signals your hands feel actually start from nerves that exit your neck and travel down. In the wrist, there's a small tunnel where nerves and tendons pass through tight spaces. If a nerve gets squeezed or irritated in a narrow spot, you might feel tingling, numbness, or weakness in your hand. That pressure can come from many reasons: swelling, posture, repetitive positions, or other medical conditions. The big point is this: numb, tingly hands are sending a signal that deserves attention, not blame. Linda's hands didn't just ache. They felt numb and weak, which is different from simple joint soreness. Numbness and tingling suggest nerve involvement, not just tired muscles. Weak grip, objects slipping, and trouble with fine movements can be signs that nerves or muscles need support. The goal is not to panic, but to gather information and share it with your provider. Linda noticed her hands fell asleep at night, and she'd hang them off the bed or shake them to wake them up. Over time, even holding a book or the steering wheel made her fingers buzz and her grip feel less trustworthy. If your experience sounds a bit like Linda's, I want you to know you're not alone, and you're not just clumsy. There are a few patterns you can pay attention to and write down. First, when does your numbness show up? At night, during typing, while driving, or all the time? Second, where exactly? Thumb, index, little finger, one hand, or both? Third, what makes it better or worse? Shaking your hands, changing posture, wearing a brace, or moving your neck? Those details can be very helpful for your healthcare provider when you go in for a check. You don't have to write a novel, just small notes like nighttime, right hand, phone use. Linda and many others noticed that long stretches at the computer or phone often made things worse.
Typing with bent wrists or gripping a mouse tightly can put extra pressure on nerves in the wrist.
Keeping the wrists in a more neutral, straight position can be kinder to the nerves. Short, gentle breaks can also help. Just a moment to relax your hands, wiggle your fingers, and shake out tension.
Linda started taking tiny breaks every 20th to 30th minutes, instead of typing through the numbness.
None of this was a cure-all, but it reduced how long and how intense the tingling felt. She also noticed that how she sat affected her hands. Slouching with her head pushed forward and shoulders rolled in made her neck and shoulder muscles tighten. Tension in the neck and shoulders can sometimes irritate nerves that travel to the arms and hands. When she sat taller with better support, her neck didn't have to fight so hard. Good posture is not about being stiff. It's about giving your nerves and muscles a more comfortable path. Linda also took her symptoms to her healthcare provider to be evaluated. That visit included questions, a hands-on exam, and tests of strength and feeling in her fingers. Your provider may tap, press, or move your hands, wrists, and neck to learn more. Sometimes additional tests are suggested. Sometimes they're not needed right away. That's a discussion between you and your provider. It's important to remember, numb hands can have many possible causes. Some people have nerve pressure at the wrist, some at the elbow or neck, some related to blood sugars, and some from other conditions.
Only your healthcare provider can untangle which factors matter most in your case.
Your job is not to self-diagnose everything. Your job is to notice patterns and share them. That alone can make your appointments more powerful and your questions more focused. With guidance, Linda was given simple movements and stretches to keep her hands and wrists from getting too stiff. Gentle wrist circles and finger stretches within comfort and safety became part of her day. These movements were not meant to be painful. They were meant to keep things from locking up. Any exercise or stretch for you should be cleared with your own healthcare provider, especially if you have nerve or circulation issues.
In some cases, providers suggest a wrist brace at night to help keep the wrist in a neutral position.
That can sometimes reduce nighttime tingling for certain patterns of nerve irritation. Again, that's not a blanket rule for everyone. It's one tool that might or might not fit your situation. We should also talk about signs that deserve quick attention. If you suddenly can't move your hand or arm, or you lose control of one side of your body, call emergency services right away. Sudden face drooping, arm weakness, and slurred speech can be signs of a stroke and need emergency care. Severe, sudden numbness with other alarming symptoms is different from the gradual, familiar patterns we're focusing on today. When in doubt, it's always safer to seek urgent help and let professionals sort it out. You deserve to be taken seriously when something suddenly changes.
Let's come back to everyday life for a moment.
Linda started using two hands for heavier objects and kept breakable things away from the counter edges.
Simple safety changes like this can protect your dishes and your confidence.
Non-slip mats, lighter dishes, and avoiding overfilled mugs all made small differences.
Thicker handles can be easier to grasp than thin, slippery ones.
You have the right to adjust your tools to your hands, not force your hands to fit your tools.
Linda also noticed her hands felt worse after long sessions scrolling on her phone.
Small, repeated movements and bent wrists can tire the hand and wrist tissues.
Using a stand and tapping more gently gave her hands a small break.
None of these adjustments cured her numbness, but they helped reduce the daily stress on her hands. Let's pause and gather the key ideas we've covered so far. First, numbness, tingling, and dropping objects are signals that deserve attention, not blame. They often involve nerves, not just joints, which is why paying attention to patterns matters. Second, the pattern, when, where, and what makes it better or worse, is powerful information for your healthcare provider. Small notes about your hands can lead to better questions and clearer guidance. Third, there are often simple changes you can make at home to reduce stress on your hands and wrists. Those changes don't replace medical care, but they can support it.
Using a stand and tapping more gently gave her hands a small break.
None of these adjustments cured her numbness, but they helped reduce the daily stress on her hands. Let's pause and gather the key ideas we've covered so far. First, numbness, tingling, and dropping objects are signals that deserve attention, not blame. They often involve nerves, not just joints, which is why paying attention to patterns matters. Second, the pattern, when, where, and what makes it better or worse, is powerful information for your healthcare provider. Small notes about your hands can lead to better questions and clearer guidance. Third, there are often simple changes you can make at home to reduce stress on your hands and wrists. Those changes don't replace medical care, but they can support it.
Linda didn't become perfect, but she became more prepared.
Her hands still had off days, but she wasn't as frightened or ashamed when something slipped.
Your story may be different from Linda's, but your discomfort still deserves respect. You are more than your grip strength or how often your keys hit the floor. Your hands have worked hard for you over the years, cooking, typing, cleaning, caring for others. It's okay for them to need extra support now. That support can look like medical evaluation, small habit changes, and kinder expectations. You don't have to wait until things are unbearable to reach out for help. If your hands tingle, feel weak, or keep dropping objects, talk with your healthcare provider about it. Ask what they think might be going on and what tests or steps they recommend. Ask which movements, supports, or braces might be safe or helpful for you personally. It's okay to write your questions down and bring them with you so you don't forget. You deserve time and clarity, not rushed confusion. Pain-Free Golden Years is here to walk beside you as you learn about your joints, nerves, and daily habits. We'll keep using simple language and visuals so your body feels less like a mystery. You deserve explanations that make sense, not just scary words. If today's episode helped you feel even a little more informed about your tingling or clumsy hands, that matters. If you found this helpful, please tap the like button so more people with numb, weak hands can find this video. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future Pain-Free Golden Years episodes. Together, we'll keep exploring topics like joint pain, bone strength, and everyday movements. After this, you can explore episodes on lower back pain, hip pain, and bone health to support your whole body. In the comments, I'd love to know, when do your hands feel the numbest or weakest? Is it at night with screens, in the kitchen, or when you're driving? Share only what you're comfortable sharing. Your stories help shape future episodes so they feel real, not just theoretical. Every tool in this studio exists to support your understanding, not to judge your struggles. You don't have to remember every detail from this episode for it to be a success. If one sentence or one small idea sticks with you and makes your next day a little easier, that's enough. You deserve hands that feel as safe and trustworthy as they reasonably can. You also deserve compassion when they don't cooperate. Your hands carry your history, recipes, letters, hugs, and projects.
It's okay for them to need special care now, just like any other hardworking part of you. If you've been blaming yourself for being clumsy, I hope you'll be a little gentler with yourself after today. You are not your dropped mug. You are a person doing their best with changing hands.
Change often starts with understanding, then with one small step at a time.
Maybe your small step this week is simply writing down when your hands tingle. Maybe it's improving how you hold your phone or taking tiny breaks from typing. These may look small, but small steps are how real-life change usually happens. Over time, those steps can add up to less fear and more confidence. Your hands might always have some history, but they can also have a future with more understanding and support. You deserve to feel like your body is an ally, not an enemy. If your hands have made you feel frustrated or even ashamed lately, you are doing more than enough by learning, asking questions, and seeking help. Thank you for letting me and Pain-Free Golden Years spend this time with you today. Thank you for caring enough about your own comfort and independence to watch all the way through. If you haven't yet, this is a great moment to like this video so others with numb hands can find it. And subscribe to stay connected as we explore more topics on aging joints, nerves, and movement. When you're ready, you can watch the next Pain-Free Golden Years episodes to keep building your toolkit.
You deserve days where you feel a little less afraid of dropping things and a little more prepared.
You deserve nights where you understand why your hands tingle instead of only wondering. Give yourself credit for every small step you take toward caring for your hands. Even when progress is slow or uneven, it still counts. If your hands feel extra tricky tomorrow, that doesn't erase what you learned today. You can always come back to this episode and replay the parts that help the most. Your hands may be sending strong signals, but you can respond with information and kindness. Keep listening to your body and also to good medical advice. You're not alone in this. Many others are learning about their hands right alongside you. Step by step, you can move from confusion to clarity and from shame to self-respect. Your hands may have changed, but your value has not. I'm cheering for you, for your hands, and for your future comfort. Thank you again for trusting Pain-Free Golden Years as part of your journey. If this episode helped, remember to like, subscribe, and share it with someone whose hands keep falling asleep. This is Evelynn from Pain-Free Golden Years, wishing you steadier hands, safer grips, and many more comfortable days ahead. May your hands feel a little more understood and a little more supported after today.